control. Welcome to the show. From lasers to CNC. What a journey, let's go. Santa's in the house. Tell me how you made it. Santa's in the house. Show me how you shaped it. Craft by craft, we'll see how you got here with me.
So, hello everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Santa and the Maker. This is episode 8, and hope y'all had a great weekend. Or actually 2 weeks, because we do this every 2 weeks. But I'm actually on a staycation this week, so I've been out in the shop yesterday, and hopefully be out here most of the week this week. But got a lot done, and got a lot more to do because I've got that big show coming up. But appreciate everybody showing up. Appreciate everybody that is on the chat right now, and hopefully we get more coming in here. But this, like I said, this is episode 8, and so what we try to do each time is we want to take a maker and that has a story and share the journey that they've got from where they started to where they are now. And so today's guest really should be called Jack in the Life. He's versed in a lot of different things, from computers, CNCs, 3D printers, lasers, even does electrical work, and hopefully we'll find out what else he does this evening. And we might be upset by the time it's over with because we can't do everything he can do, but we'll see about that as well. But he's also the reason that a lot of us actually have a Snapmaker U1 now. So we blame him quite a bit for that as well. But our guest this evening, of course, is Jack here with Jack in the Shop, and he's also on several shows. And as I said earlier, he's on about every live that you can see. He actually did IDC Woodcraft the other day, telling them a little about lasers and things like that. So Jack, appreciate you coming and hanging out with us for a little while. How are you?
Well, thanks for the invite. I'm doing pretty good.
Good. Glad to hear it. So, and of course, over his shoulder, there's the U1 to get somebody else to actually want one as well. So,
I hope I can make it through this live stream. We got a bad storm brewing up, and I just heard something pop a minute ago, sound like a fuse, but it wasn't ours this time.
Okay, well that's good. So we'll go as long as we can. So, but like I said, I appreciate you coming. So we'll go ahead and get started. Then, if you got a storm there, maybe we can take and get this done a little quicker or whatever. But appreciate everybody in chat. I see. Build Smart Woodworking 3D or Three Dogs is here. Kevin's here. Kyle's here. We've got several people here already. Appreciate y'all coming. But what we want to do is we want to find out how you got from where you started from and that kind of thing. So the very first question I ask everybody is basically where you were born from.
I'm from a little old town that nobody heard of, Great Falls, South Carolina, right below Lancaster.
Yep.
I moved around a lot.
Well, I can already tell you a story. You call it Lancaster, which is what we call it here in the South. If you live in North Carolina or South Carolina, but if you go to Pennsylvania and you go to what you consider Lancaster, it's not Lancaster, it's Lancaster. I was actually corrected one time. So when you said that, it kind of brought back a memory. But
well, right now I live in Dallas, North Carolina, and I am not far from the Christmas capital of the world.
Yes, you are.
And I heard a lady get on the news and to McAdenville. What? Where?
Yeah, yeah. And I love McAdenville. The only thing I don't like about McAdenville is all the traffic. My dad worked for the Duke. For Southern Bell South, AT&T, all those different things they went through, and he lived in Gastonia. And so we went to visit one time, and he said, "Take this back road and go and you do this, and you'll come right out there at McAdenville." Well, it was the wrong way to go. We took the back roads, and it was just as long as if you got on the interstate. So, but it is a beautiful area once you get in there. But anyway, so you were born there, and was your parents from there? How did you start in that area?
Well, my dad's side from that part of the world. My mom's side is from Mobile, Alabama. So she moved up, and it's like we lived in Great Falls till I was a teenager before we moved to Lancaster. So
right,
that's my stomping grounds, I guess.
So, and what did your mom and dad do? I mean, what did they do for living and that kind of thing?
I guess that's one reason why we left Great Falls. Dad used to work in a mill down there till they shut down.
Yeah.
And then he was a
Textile
body
mill, I'm
man.
assuming.
Huh?
Textile mill, I assume.
Yeah, textile mills. Yeah.
Yeah. I worked back in in my younger days. I did some of that as well. So come home with cotton everywhere and all that kind of stuff. So that can be hard work depending on what job you had. But where did you grow up? You said you were in Lancaster, and where did you pretty much grow up at in your teenage years?
That was pretty much my stomping grounds, all over Lancaster and Great Falls areas.
Right.
I was
Right.
back and forth a little bit.
So and you went to high school there?
I went to high school in Great Falls. I went to high school in Lancaster. I went to high school in North Mac. I went to high school at Olympic High School, East Gaston, and Hardin. Went to all those high schools and still
Right.
didn't finish.
Right. Well, it's not necessarily a bad thing, you know. Sometimes some people just don't. School's not for them, you know. And I think you're a testament to a degree, because the one thing that I like and going to enjoy talking to you about is to see how you progressed from that fact. You know, you didn't finish high school, but you had a natural curiosity from an early childhood anyway. So can you start a little bit with that? Because we were talking about it a while ago, and you're trying to blame Santa for it. So we'll let you explain that first.
I was messing around with it. I said,
I
"You remember I was 3 years old? You brought me this little toy robot." No. Mom got me a little toy robot, and she also had me a screwdriver kit. And I was like 3 years old, and she came in the house and she looked all over the place. I had that little robot taken out in all different kind of parts. She looked down at me. She said, "What in the world have you done?" And she tells me, I can't even hardly remember this, but she tells the story real good. She said, "I looked up at her and said, well, I had a screwdriver and it had screws in it." She said she couldn't even get mad. But I've always liked to take things apart and see how they work. I had a little electric train that I took apart just to see how it works. And all my race cars and my remote control cars, I take them apart and see what was in them, see how they work. So I've always, I guess, been a disassembler. It wasn't until I got to about 13 where I started putting stuff back together.
Yeah.
That's when Mom and Dad got me my first computer, and they scratched up all they had to get me this computer, and I had it all set up. And a few months later, I had it all tore apart and laid across my bed. And I went up to Radio Shack and bought the little memory modules to upgrade the memory to 700 kilobytes of RAM.
So what do you remember what kind of computer it was? Because my very first one was the TRS-80. I had the TRS-80. You had the what?
Tandy RL1000. Radio Shack Special.
Yeah, Radio Shack. That's exactly where my Tandy came from as well. So, but so did you at that point, at that age, did you really understand what you were doing? Or you like a lot of us and you just went in there and said, "Okay, I'm gonna figure this out"?
I yellowed it. I mean, it was back. We didn't have internet.
Right. Exactly.
We didn't have Windows.
Right.
That computer, it did have an operating system. It had it still was not a multitasking operating system. It was DESMate. So it was a step up from DOS. But actually, DOS is the primary thing I used. I used a program called TeleX, and I put it on the phone line, and I got onto these different bulletin board systems, collecting different bulletin board system phone numbers. Got to where I ran my own bulletin board system there for a while. It was just a small local thing. I didn't even have a name for it, but I was a sysop for a while for that bulletin board system. And just trial and error.
Yeah.
I needed something better. So I scrapped up a bunch of parts. This computer over here wasn't working. I could get some freebies. That computer over there wasn't working. I'd take two and make a good one, and I'd end up selling it. And I'd do it again, and I just kept buying better and better stuff till I got a decent computer.
Mm-hmm. So so you're like a lot of and we were talking about this before the start of the show. You know, a lot of us that are on here and a lot of people that are in the chat, we're all a tinkerer of some sort. I think that's how we all ended up ultimately getting into these different things that we do, whether it's 3D printers or lasers or, you know, any of these other machines. Because you have to have that curiosity. You have to, not only do you have to have that curiosity, but you have to have the drive to, I'm going to figure it out, and then I'm going to be able to do something with it. And
because I didn't really have a way to search things back then. When you're buying scrap parts like that, it don't come with a manual.
No,
there ain't no internet. You can't Google it. Google wasn't a thing.
Well, and you got to remember, back in those early days, you had a cassette. A lot of times it was what you got on the quote unquote internet or whatever at that point. So that was how you communicated. And so We didn't have all
we
this
ran that
luxury.
bulletin board system for a little while, and I heard somebody say something, but you can hook this computer to a radio, and you can send pictures, and you can send email. So that's
Yeah,
when I got into ham radio, and I
right,
started doing slow scan TV and PS and the texting mode, all the digital modes.
right. So you got into ham radio as well.
Yeah,
So
I'm a ham radio operator for a few decades.
yeah, well, I never got into ham radio. We were at I was in the fire department, as some of y'all know, and so we had CB radios, and we would go four wheeling or whatever, and talk on those. But then you'd have somebody that keyed in on that ham radio, and it'd blow you out. So, but
But then we got the internet, and we started playing around with the internet, and I got into figuring out what IP addresses are, and
yeah,
I started searching. That's back before anybody had security, and I would just randomly search IP addresses, and I'd see what different people had. And I was a software collector then. I started collecting software off other people's computers I just randomly found from IP scanners,
yeah,
and then I started getting into a little bit of cybersecurity, and I got a bunch of hardware collector from that. I got a Pineapple router. I don't care what your device is calling. My Pineapple router say I'm it. It'll connect to me. And I get
right.
into a lot of cybersecurity and stuff like that too.
So you basically started from nothing, and you done like a lot of people did in those early days. You just figured it out as you went, and then as you start to learn that, then you get further and further along. So, and
First
very
program I wrote was on an old Apple II.
very so, the very first drafting program I ever used way back when was called McDraft, and that was on the Apple program as well. And that was the worst software in the world. You couldn't attach lines. You couldn't hardly do anything. But so we're bringing back some memories here, talking about dial up and all the different things that back in those days. So, but yeah, we've come a long way since then. But and so have you. So you decided you get out of high school. What did you decide to do then? Did you go to work specifically somewhere? Did you know what you were going to do? Where'd you go from there?
I was sitting at the house one day, and I seen this orange truck rolling down the road, and we lived down a dead end road. I knew it couldn't be going far. I walked down there and seen what they was doing, and I didn't even have a driver's license. I didn't have nothing. And I said, "What are y'all doing?" He said, "Well, we're trimming lines on these power lines." I said, "You need any help?" Got hired on the spot. No application, no nothing. Got hired with Asplin.
It's funny you said that, because you could literally, if you worked in the mills, in the cotton mills like I did when I was young, you could literally quit a job today and then be working tomorrow in another cotton mill. And that it was just a totally different world. And like you said, most people took you at your word when you first went up. Hey, I need a job. You got one for me. And so, it's a different world that we live in now. So, but so you went into electrical, and did it pretty much hit you immediately? This is what I'm going to do. Did it take time? Or do you still know?
Me immediately. This is what I'm going to do right now. I was with Asplin for almost 15 years, and I went and I became I was on the house crew, and I'd go around and helping out for all the power outages. That was my thing. I'd go around and help everybody with the power outages.
Yeah.
And slowly migrated into Pike, and I've been with Pike now for a little bit over 21 years.
Yeah, Pike's a subcontractor for Duke Power, for those who don't know. And it's a big company as well.
But I was I was actually working my way up to a C class lineman, and my general foreman actually went into the office to be an office manager. And while he was an office manager, they needed somebody that knew something about computers. And he remembered me because I was still, through all that, I was still building computers on the side. And I built him a gaming rig.
Mm-hmm.
And he remembered that. So he brought me into the office, and I've been in the office ever since. And I'm doing their network and desktop support and all this good stuff.
Yeah.
But I went in the office, and some of the fellows out in the field got pretty upset. I know more about computers than he does. I said, how do you know how much I know about a computer?
Well, but see, that proves the point I just said a few minutes ago, because you were talking about, you went to 10th grade in high school, but sometimes your abilities outweigh that education. Now, granted, I went to 4 years of college and all that kind of stuff. but college only really teaches you to learn. That's all it really amounts to. If you have what you do, basically the natural curiosity, the natural ability to figure things out and stuff like that, you can go just as far or a lot further than some of us that went to college. So, that I don't, you know, if you went to high school and you went to college, great. If you didn't, that's fine too. The one thing I learned all years and years ago, being in the fire service, is the fact that there's smart people everywhere, and that piece of paper really doesn't mean a whole lot ultimately. Mine hangs on the wall in my office upstairs, and every once in a while I'll look at it, but that's an expensive piece of paper I have. So, but
that's pretty much how I got into this stuff. I liked the electrical part of the electronic part of it, computers and what you can do with computers. I started programming microcontrollers, basic stamps, Arduinos, stuff like that. I built a home automation system with an Arduino and a Ethernet hat. Had an electronic door strike installed on the door, and I put a servo in my antique Mercury style thermostat so I could change the thermostat with my phone. I've done that. And matter of fact, my first YouTube video was 16 or 17 years ago, showing how to write a talking alarm clock in Windows.
So Greg's asking me here, do I have a jig for these perfect curls on the mustache? You don't know how many hair products I have in order to get this mustache.
There's a lot of product.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in here. So, but and not to mention change it. This is usually a dark. And if you look at the first videos that I started with, you'll see that this is dark and this is dark. So I have to change the colors on it. I just had a photo session with a photographer who started a new type of experience, I guess is what we'll say for now. And so I had to go to a couple of those. So I have to keep it white now. But no, I don't have a jig necessarily. I've just learned how to curl it. But so. And then Ed said here, just to counterpoint what we were talking about, he says he knows a lot of people that are educated beyond their intelligence, and I know several of those as well. So they're everywhere. But so you get out of high school, you go in and you get into the electrical work, you really enjoy it, you're still doing computers and stuff. So what became your first craft? What was the first thing that you said, I kind of enjoy this?
I can't really remember what my first craft was. I used to I made one of those chainsaw bear head with a chainsaw on a old cedar stump in the backyard. Little stuff like that. I've always made something, no matter what it was. I take pallets apart, and as a matter of fact, I think I've got that in the YouTube. I've taken a pallet apart and making a little chair that's out in the yard and put a potted plant on. Just always making stuff like that.
Right.
And that probably stems from my dad a lot too. He liked to tinker around in the shop too. He built all of his tools. He built his table saw. He built his lathe, the whole wooden frame and everything. He built his drill press because he didn't finish high school either, but he actually went back to school and finished, and he went to a trade school for welding. So he built his drill press in that welding class. That was his graduation project.
Yeah. And so was he like you as far as a natural tinkerer too? I mean, I know he put together all these things, but was he constantly tearing things apart, putting it back together? Constantly. Yeah. We were talking before the show. My grandfather was the same way. He had a Ford 9N Ford tractor, and it would run one day and then the next day it wouldn't. And I told him one day, I said, "You're going to have to leave that thing alone. It's running right now." And he's like, "It just don't sound right." And I'm like, "It ain't gonna run tomorrow." So that's the other thing. So
my dad took a Vega station wagon and cut the back of it off of it and made a pickup truck.
Yeah.
He took a 454 and stuck it in an S10 pickup one time.
Well, that's the one thing I didn't get into. I actually got older before I started tinkering with cars too much. And I am no expert at cars. Most of the time I'm in YouTube University looking at how somebody else did it first so I can fix something or change something like that. But, it's just one of those things. You also have your limitations, and everybody should know where their limitations are as well. But let's ask you this question then, since you don't know exactly what the first craft was. What was the first machine? Was it your CNC you built? Was it where did you start? Where you get the machines where you work with now?
Well, I guess my first machine I built was a CNC machine, and the first one I didn't do a whole lot with. The second one ended up being a MPCNC. Well, I guess the first machine I put together was a 3D printer, because the MPCNC I had to 3D print most of the parts. So I had the Ender 3 3D printer. I still got it, and I used it a few times, and I liked it. I started looking around. I was getting ready to build one from scratch, and I started sourcing all the parts, and I seen the long mill. So I got the long mill kit, and I put it together. So that's the
So what?
CNC machine.
So basically,
Preferred.
the Ender was your first machine, I guess. Is that,
Yeah.
and what interested you on that? I mean, was you thinking, all right, I need CNC and I'm going to get a 3D printer, or did you see the 3D printer
I wasn't
first?
thinking about none of that. I seen the Ender. I said, you know, I'm just gonna buy it.
Yeah,
$150.
right.
We'll figure something out. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. Had no
I-
clue what I was gonna do with it.
Well, it looks like the investment worked out because you still got it sitting behind you right now. So
Yeah,
I'd say
I got two of them
$150
right
well
now.
spent. So,
But then I got the CO2 laser. I got the K40.
Yeah.
Then I got the 60-watt CO2. Then I got a 5-watt diode. So I didn't go in chronological order pretty well there.
right. Yeah. Well, I don't think any of us do, because I started with the CO2 and then bought the fiber and then ended up with the little F2 behind me, the diode. So I don't think there's a rule book that I've seen yet that tells you which way to go first. So, but now, you know, I've got 3 of these, got 2 printers, and then that CNC machine that I just bought. So, but I'm seeing that Jim's here from
Hey,
Max Laser.
there's Al.
Kilroy's just come in, so glad y'all could come make it for a few minutes. And but like I said, we're sitting here talking about Jack, and we've got up to basically he's got his 3D printer, and he started making stuff, and he started getting some lasers. So what interested you about the lasers at that point from the 3D printer? You went from 3D printer, you started creating your CNC machine, and then you said, "Hey, I got to have a laser." What made you get to that point?
Squirrel.
So,
Hey, something shiny.
right. So,
You know what? This is a CO2 laser. It looks pretty cool, and it's cheap. It was an Ender 3. I got it for under $300. I mean, not the Ender 3, the K40. I got it for under $300.
right. Yeah.
It didn't take long for me to figure out this is way too small of a work area. I didn't have it a week, and I had the entire bed ripped out of it. And I
Right.
built my own frame. And like you do, like you have to do something like that, because a 7-inch work area is not going to give you anything.
No.
Stop that.
So,
Camera's messing with me. Where was I at?
you're talking about
the K40.
the small bed.
Yeah. And I actually got a video on YouTube where it sprung a leak. It sprung an electrical leak. I opened the back of it and I hit the pulse button, and the great old big long arc shoots out to the frame of the laser. And so I bought a new tube, and I upgraded the tube, done all kinds of stuff with it. And a 40-watt, it can do a lot of stuff. It can't. Tim Allen, we need more power.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, yeah.
So then I got the 60-watt.
Exactly. So what were you doing at that time with them? What were you making?
Little Christmas ornament type deals.
Was you doing any craft shows or anything to go with it?
I've never worked a craft show one.
Okay.
I've done keychains. I've done some earrings, small stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
acrylics.
You said it was, I think 16 years ago you may have done your first YouTube video.
16, 17, somewhere in there. I have to scroll back. I do that all the time. I said, when did I get that machine? I'll go to my YouTube videos and I'll scroll back. Oh, that's exactly when I got it.
Yeah. So what made you say, hey, I can do that too?
There's nothing I can't do. Only things I have not done yet.
Right.
You got to have that type of mentality.
Right. And so you said, hey, I can share this with some people and maybe they'll like it, maybe they won't.
YouTube, actually, I never thought about YouTube never doing anything. Nobody's ever going to watch these. I had some family food videos on there, some slideshows that I had made, and it was just strictly to share with the family.
Mm-hmm.
That's all YouTube was to me.
Right.
And I started putting a couple of project videos, and some people started growing some interest. So I actually took a lot of the family videos, made them private, and then started working. Um, you ain't gonna believe something as simple as Jack in the Shop. You ain't gonna believe how long it took me to come up with that name. I sat and thought, and think, oh well, whatever, Jack in the Shop. That's what I. That's what I am.
And like I said, you're gonna have to change it. Jack and Alive now. That's what you're constantly on the different lives. So, but so at what point did you? So you're putting family videos on there and all that. What was the thing that said, I'm gonna put this first video out that shows how to do this? Was it just you had done it and you decided you wanted to share it in case somebody
It
else
wasn't
wanted
even
to
a
do it?
how to. It was just a share. Look at what I've done.
Right. Okay.
Pretty much that's how I still kind of treat it. I mean, I still don't see myself in a position to be teaching anybody anything.
Well, but see, that's the one thing that I guarantee you, everybody that's on the chat right now will say that you're wrong about. Because the one thing that we all see is, like we've been talking about already, is your natural curiosity has got you a lot of knowledge that we have all gained in some way. I mean, the Snap Maker, for example, I was debating between it and the Creator 5. The one thing that I was stuck on with the Creator 5 that I could not overcome was where the it put the waste, which was on the side. And as we know now, it's going into that fan, and people are having some issues with it. And they've changed it where it turns the fan off and all that, but I just couldn't overcome it. You
That's
kept
not
putting,
even a fix.
yeah, and you kept putting up videos about, you know, what your Snap Maker was doing and how efficiently it was doing it. And so when I got it, I'll be honest, because I have that ADE 5X. When I got it, the first thing I did, of course, is printed out the little dragon that's on everybody prints out.
Oh yeah,
first thing.
Snap Maker Benchy.
Yeah, and yeah, the Snap Maker Benchy. And so I was just blown away with the fact that there was just little tiny pieces of leftover that was to start with. And from that point on, every time you turned around, it didn't have to go back and repurge and do all that over and over and over. So, and like I said, watching you do multicolor a time or two.
Mm.
And so, like, Jack, Jim's talking about, taught how to replace parts on your fiber. You have done a lot of stuff for a lot of people. And, I'm sure you're modest, and we can all tell that, because like you said, you don't see yourself as, but a lot of us do. A lot of us see you having a lot of knowledge that we all want to glean off of every once in a while. So
I'm still learning as I go. I'm still messing stuff up. So
yeah, if we stop learning, it's time to get out of it. I mean, honestly, it's time to do something totally different. So
hey, Mr. Mike.
Yeah, Mike, I saw you there. So, but Jim, I heard it took you 9 hours, but you did.
There was complications beyond technical on that night.
Yeah,
There was cops involved. That should have been alive.
yeah.
We had to deal with the police. There was all kind of stuff going on.
Right. So yeah, even Kilroy even says we're not worthy. So
Kilroy, that's a smart individual right there.
Yeah. I like Kilroy's shows as well. So, but so did you get into any testing of the machines yet, or are you just pretty much still doing? I mean, I don't think I've seen you where you said that they sent me this to test it, but
nobody sends me stuff,
right?
And I probably know why. They probably won't ever.
Okay.
I ain't gonna sugarcoat nothing. And I was thinking about it the other night when I was on that stream with the IDC, and somebody was asking me about the X tool. Everybody's got their preferences. I don't really have a preference because, as we've discussed so far, I am a tinkerer. I like cheap stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's got all the same internal parts. When you buy something like that, like an X tool or something, one of these more expensive brands, you're paying for the name and you're paying for their service.
Yeah.
I'm not going to rely on their service. Like I was talking about earlier, that K40. I had it for a few days and I ripped it apart and started messing with the internals. My fiber laser, I had it for 4 months before I ripped it apart and I put a new power supply and a new source in it to make it a 100 watt.
Yeah.
So I'm not paying for support.
I understand. Well, let me ask you this: is there a threshold that you're like, is it just because you can't get it to do what you want it to do? Is it you think you can make it better? What makes you say, I'm going to tear into that thing and I'm going to fix it?
It depends.
Yeah. Okay. So
Sometimes I just want to know what's inside of it.
right.
I had a fellow one time. He bought a brand new computer, and I said, "Okay, let's see what's in it." And I took the cover off of it, and I was looking to see what kind of RAM, what processor. He said, "I can't believe you! It's a brand new computer, and you're taking it apart." Side cover. You ain't messing nothing up.
Right.
Let's find out what's in it. See what's under the hood.
Right. So when you started doing your YouTube and all that and started looking at the internet, how much now do you go to YouTube with your natural ability to, look at something and say, okay, this is how this works and this is how that works? How much do you rely or look at YouTube as far as I need to fix this or I need to try this versus what you would do back in the day? I mean, do you really? Because a lot of us get on there, and I call it YouTube University, because the one thing you have to make sure of is that you understand this is good information or bad information. And you can watch 10 different videos and you can pretty much discern. Yeah, well, you get that, or the opposite happens. You get 5 that are basically the same, and you say, okay, that sounds like it's right, but this guy over here was wrong. And so that's why I'm putting the question to you with your natural curiosity.
Well, pretty much I stay on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I like watching creators. I like being in the live streams,
right,
more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
And more times than not, I was on the live stream the other day, or yesterday actually, and this fellow had a Jin Metsu, and it was the first time he's ever ran his Jin Metsu,
Mm-hmm.
and he was getting wood burns. So I'm in here typing away, speed that machine up or slow that spindle down. Speed it up. Are you sure? You trying to get me to tear my machine up? I said, no, you're burning your wood. You're dulling your bit. Speed that machine up or slow that spindle down one.
Yeah.
But I'm answering questions, but I like the live stream. I like the interaction.
Right.
Hobo with Wood, I watch him all the time. If you want to know about light burn, how to design something light burn, Hobo with Wood is definitely the channel you need to watch.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in there with Hobo with Wood. And, sometimes he's asking me stuff, and we're talking back and forth. Chris down there in Australia, he's in there answering
Mm-hmm.
questions.
Yeah. Well, that was
interaction.
That was the one thing I was going to ask you too, is because I make fun about it, but in all seriousness, how many different shows have you been on? I know you were on IDC. I know you're with Dwayne.
I've been on IDC 3 times. I've been on Santa's Laser Engraving. I've been on 3DHP, Jerry on Saturdays. I'm in there quite often. I was on Kilroy's one time. Jim, Jeremy.
Yeah.
A few times.
Yeah.
I've been on a bunch.
Right. So, but yeah, we all make fun of you. The fact that you every time we turn around, he's coming off another live. And so
sometimes I've got multiples going. I have had up to 4 of them going at the same time.
Yeah, my brain don't work that way. If I got two screens here right now, and that's about all I can handle. So I'm trying to, because I'm gonna give this one the wrong answer, and that one's gonna figure out what in the world is he talking about. But Greg said that he needed us all on speed dials. So, but we a couple of us got to actually see Greg the other day. He had a little issue on his camera, but we actually got to see Greg, so it was good to see him. Hopefully he gets that rest of the way worked out.
A little bit of an issue, and I honestly do not think it was his internet speed, because he had a really nice picture.
Yeah. Well, he had the issue first with his sound there for a few minutes, but he got that squared away, and then it just
usually if it's your internet speed, your picture's the first thing to go.
Yeah, it wouldn't work up there. So, Louisiana Hobby Guy said you've been on his too. So
I sure have.
So, and Kilroy said you're welcome anytime. And I would say that any of the shows that you've been on would be more than glad to have you back on again, because and I hate to sound like I'm bragging a little bit, but it really interests me when people have that natural curiosity, and that's because of my engineering brain. That the fact that I'm always trying to figure something out, trying to figure out the best way to do it, trying to figure out, is this the best option? And it drives Mrs. Claus, Miss Tracy, it drives her insane. We can get something, and I know it's going to sound stupid to say we're buying a new pencil. I got to go see what kind of wood it's made out of. I got to know what kind of lead it's got in it. I got to know how long, and that kind of thing. And she's like, just buy the pencil. And so that's more of my curiosity comes from that. And like I said in another one, I'm the natural curiosity of being a Santa too. I love hearing people's stories and seeing how they developed. We all are basically the same, regardless of where you started at, where you got to. Everybody that's in this group right now, we love our lasers, we love our 3D printers, we love our CNCs, and we're all looking at UV printers next. We're probably looking at this next. We're looking at that next. We're always evolving what we're doing, and so it's amazing to me that somebody that has that natural ability because I do have some natural ability, but I have to research everything, and you're the one who will just tear into it and go, okay, here's what I got.
And I guess I got that from, like I said, back in the day, starting to build computers, tear them apart and figure them out. There wasn't no YouTube.
Yeah,
you had to get in there and read the chips, what's on the motherboard, read what motherboard you got. Sometimes you might have to go to a computer shop, have to get a radio shack. I might have to open a manual on the motherboard, make sure it could take this particular type of RAM, this particular CPU. You have to do your research through the old school way, reading the book.
Yeah, and get the little electronic book or the little electronic board thing that they used to have at Radio Shack where you could plug everything in the diode. You remember that?
I never had one of them.
So, well, let's talk a little bit about your projects itself. What have you found to be the most frustrating on the things that you've worked on so far?
The most frustrating?
Yeah.
Coming up with something somebody will actually want to spend money on.
Yeah. Yeah. And
I don't like to just do projects, just have something sitting around.
Right.
I wait till I get an order. I might make one. Hey, you like this? Maybe not. I might tweak it a little bit, but if I don't have an order, I don't want to waste material. From most importantly, so I don't just do projects all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you would rather somebody say, "Here's what I want," and then you can go and design and develop it after that.
Yeah, I'll show people what I can do to an extent, and sometimes they want some custom stuff, and that's biggest money right there is in customizing stuff. But
yeah, and the thing is you get a variety. You're not constantly making the same thing over and over and over. So he tends to have more issues than curiosity, Greg said. So, but
and that might be one of my issues. I was telling somebody the other day, I just want to do everything.
Yeah.
But once I figure something out, I kind of tend to move on a little bit.
Right.
So I don't spend, and like I said, I got the fiber lasers, I got the CO2 lasers, I got the diode lasers, I got the 3D printers, I got the plasma machines, got the CNCs. I built remote control lawnmowers. I got a remote control lawnmower that I've rebuilt 6 times, and just all kind of stuff like this. I don't know how I got so much stuff. I don't really get very good at any one.
Right.
I just spread it out through a bunch of different the ham radio. I'm just all kind of stuff.
Do you feel yourself headed that way? In other words, I'm getting a little bored with the 3D printer. I'm going to switch over here. Or is it just one of those where you just stop for a while and then you'll go back to it?
And that's one reason why probably some people say your YouTube ain't doing too good. I don't really care about the analytics that much. I'll post what I'm doing, and it's not necessarily the same thing all the time. I might post something about the barbecue tomorrow. I don't know.
Yeah, that was one thing I forgot to mention is Jack is the world's worst to put everybody in hunger mode when he's on one of these lives or one of these chats talking about what he's cooked. So if you've seen any of the lives he's on, he's talking about, yeah, I'm cooking some steak over here. I'm doing some whatever.
I did chicken legs on the pellet grill yesterday. Oh, man,
yes, sir. But Ed says he remembers the vacuum tube tester at the Eckards. So, well, here, go back to who remembers the Eckards. So that's the other thing too. So, but and then Greg said he remembered those as well. So if that's how you go, what's been your most rewarding thing that you've done as far as any of these machines? What was the one thing that you was like, I'm really, really proud of that?
I guess the CNCs, and the most meaningful things was like the Bible carves that I do. And the best one I think was where I took it off the CNC and I put it on the laser, and I felt at work had me engrave all of their grandkids' favorite verses in their own handwriting.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to do stuff custom like that. There was a fella in Mount Airy called me one time. He wanted me to do a slate. Their grandma had passed away, and she had a favorite saying, and they wanted her signature at the bottom of it. So I put that saying on there, and nobody could find her signature. I said, "Well, you know what? Stop that. You know what county she lived in? Take her name and go to the county website and look up the deed and records, and you'll find her signature there somewhere." They found it. I was able to put her signature on there. Just the things that, like that the box that I sent Garrett on, he showed on the IDC, had
Mm-hmm.
him and his grandkids. They're working together with the CNC. Things
Right.
that with meaning like that.
Right. Yeah. And well, and I have a similar story as well. My dad, when he passed away, I built his urn, and I had that's when I was president of the woodworking club in the county that I lived in, and I didn't have a CNC or anything like that, but I did the woodworking. So I built the box itself, and one of the guys that was in the club actually had a CNC machine. And so we went over there and put his name and his military rank and all that kind of stuff on it. And that, to me, that was have to be my most memorable, was the fact that, I was able to do that for him at his last moment. So that's, and I understand fully what you're talking about, that to do something that's memorable for not only just you, but for whoever gets it, it's you're creating, not sure the right word, but you're creating not just a memento, but you're creating a moment that they will remember forever. And so that's really fun to do.
Definitely a long keepsake, not something that's going to get rid of in a couple of years.
Yeah.
I get so many emails back on them. The family love these. And that's, can you do another one? Yeah.
Yeah. So Ed said he engraved his mother-in-law's handwritten spaghetti. So yeah, that's a lot of, you see a lot of that too. People with their recipes and stuff like that they'll want somebody to come and do. But and Greg saying, mash that like and subscribe button for either one of us or both of us if you enjoy this and all. But Jack has got a lot of stuff on his, and like I said, 16 years, he's got to have a lot of stuff on his YouTube. But
that's my first video, was that long ago. I just left it be for years and didn't even mess with it. So I got like 550 something like it videos, and they're all over the place. None of them are good, but
well,
he just went away. Anyway, how y'all doing? I guess it's just me now. I thought I might be the one falling off because we had that storm coming up, but I think it's done passed over us.
Hey,
here he comes.
I'm back again. You can't hit the other button on your mouse. I found that out just now. Everybody got to watch me hit that and just disappear.
There is a back button on the mouse. He said, like, "Oh, he just went away."
We're gonna move this. We're gonna move this over. So that's so learn something new all the time. So, but yeah, we got some people talking, and the people in chat. I would like to have a few questions you'd like to ask Jack. I'd like to start doing that a little bit. If you got a question you'd like to ask Jack, go ahead and put it up here. So
make it an easy one.
Yeah. So, but
we like the easy questions.
Greg said he likes those light boxes you did.
Thank you.
And then Rich said that one of his favorites was engraving bricks for the Aquarium of America's walkway, which that's a very cool thing as well. So I thought about doing a couple bricks. I just haven't tried it yet. So when I was in when I retired from the fire department, we had our Firemen's Association. We had a memorial, and since we spent 20 years in the fire, or I spent 20 years in the fire service, my name will go up on that memorial. But I bought a brick for both my mom, who was like the ladies auxiliary president at one point, and then my brother, who was also a firefighter. So, to have those in there and have them done. And so when I saw those come out after they had engraved them and all that, it was just pretty amazing to me. And it's probably was in the back of my mind when I started my journey down through here. So, but Jim says he's going to need some training on a CNC.
He's gonna need a CNC first.
Yeah, you got you got to have. And I put out on a chat yesterday. I actually said that I was going to run my CNC today, but I have not got to it today. I had a bunch of running around with mom and some other things, but hopefully tomorrow I'll run that first one. We'll see what kind of disaster we come up with. But
I was playing around with Milmage today, trying to devise a way to make it do a molding toolpath because it does not have a molding toolpath option.
well, let me ask you this, just out of curiosity. Is that because I remember back when I was doing CNC programming and stuff like that in college and all, there was these CAN programs, you know, the plunge or several different things. I have not found that in Milmage yet, and I'm assuming there probably is somewhere in there. Do you know?
There absolutely is.
Okay, all right.
Milmage is CAD CAM, his computer aided design and computer aided manufacturing.
No.
You can create all your toolpaths. It even has VCarve 3D now.
Yeah, well, what I'm talking about when I'm talking about a canned program, it's basically you set it up to, let's say I wanted to go 1/4 of inch and whatever tool I'm using, and it will tell it to peck down so far and come back up, peck down so far, so that you don't have to actually physically do that. Now I know when you draw it, a lot of that's already put into the cam side. But I know that sometimes you could add those in, like if you wanted it to drill a hole and you wanted to go down a little bit, empty it out, and go back down in because the wood's hard or whatever your reasoning is.
You're talking about a pecking operation. That's what they
call
it.
A pecking type operation. Yes. Yeah. So
I don't know that. I'd have to look back. I don't know that Milmage has the. I thought you said cam, but
it's
I don't know that it has the pecking operation yet, but it does have the boring operation. So you can get a smaller bit. Of course, you never want to plunge with an end mill. I saw a video today. It looked like this is going to start to blame fire, just driving it straight down. There's no cutting edges on the bottom of an end mill. You always want to do a ramping down into, use a smaller bit for a larger hole, and it does definitely have a core operation.
Yeah.
So that will help evacuate some chips, depending on the flutes that you're using.
Yeah.
You don't want to use a down cut bit anyway. You always want to use an up cut bit for that operation.
Yeah, and if you think about it, it's not real hard to remember that it's going to bring the chip up and out. So, but Jim says he's working on his CNC, so we'll have to see his video too. So
let's get it going.
Rich said he did those bricks about 20 years ago. It's satisfying to still see them there. Yeah, I'm sure it is. So it's nice to go back and see your work. That is the one thing that I do enjoy.
Yeah.
Well, I enjoy it from the civil engineering side to be able to go back, especially the western part of North Carolina. Now I can go back there and see a subdivision that I worked on or something like that, you know, and see how it's flourished and how it's changed since I've been there. So that's a lot of fun. And so, you know, the same thing with these. You're talking about making a memory or whatever, and you see somebody I do the craft shows and stuff because that's being in a tourist area down here. I'd be crazy not to, really, because the amount of stuff that I can just create simply and get a few bucks here and there if I need to. But the fact that to be able to stand there and somebody comes up and goes, "Hey, you did a so-and-so and such and such for me about 2 years ago, and we still have it." That's the other thing that just is really fun to go through as well. So Kevin says, "Why did you choose the U1 over the Creator 5? I'm having trouble deciding which one." Well,
get to U1.
Yeah,
decision made.
Yeah. I'd said it a few minutes ago that I was having the same argument, and I could not get over the fact that when it would take and purge, it purged it at that time right beside the bed, and it would fall down behind the bed or under the bed, and there's a fan right there where it was falling. And so what they started seeing is it was curling either up or into that fan. And so they were having some issues. Now, it's my understanding is that FlashForge has now taken and fixed that to go back to the back corner, but you're still getting an excessive amount of purge as far as I'm concerned if you watch any of the videos. That was one reason. The other reason that I didn't go to Creator 5 at that time was I did not see that many videos on it. When Snapmaker came out, you saw everybody working with them, and you saw very few on the Creator 5. So I couldn't make a conscientious decision based off of the fact of what limited information, I guess would be the better way to put it.
For me, it was that plus the bed size.
Yeah, and that's it's got a bigger bed. So the the U1, it's anybody who's got one. I know Crafted just got one not a week ago, 2 weeks ago. The one thing that immediately just blows you away, and it's because we have these machines that have 4 different spools on there, and we've seen all this poop that it's come out with at the end of multicolor. But to see basically it purge at the beginning, and then it just changes and changes and changes and changes, and you never see it go back there, and you come out with this just little small bit of purge by the time it's all said and done. That it's amazing.
I keep forgetting about cotton gin and days.
Yep.
It's right here at the house too.
So, yeah, I used to, I worked in Charlotte for about a year for a company down there, and had to drive through and go through Dallas and all that stuff to get there. So I know that area pretty well. And like I said, my dad lived in Gastonia, so I know that area pretty well as well. But oh, no problem, Kevin. So and you know, ultimately you do your own research, but that was the reason I ended up going that, and Jack showing off, and you can see it behind him right now, that the Jack in the shop there, he's got one of the lights, and I've got 2 of them. One of them I made with the AD5X to begin with, and then the second one was the 250 one I've got that I made with the actual U1, and the amount of difference. So yeah, he's got his YouTube as well there. So that comes off of that machine. And how much purge did you have when you finished?
It's been a while since I even dumped this thing.
And you've run it how long? This is what I'm talking about, guys, gals.
It's been a while since I dumped it. I don't ever think about it.
Yeah. And that's over. How many times do you think you've run it since the last time you cleaned it out?
I made a couple more light boxes.
Now remember, this is multicolor light boxes, guys, gals.
What?
I said, I was telling everybody, this is multicolored light boxes.
Oh,
yeah. So,
this ain't lithophane boxes. These are light boxes.
yeah. Full both sides and the everything else.
But I haven't done a 2-sided one yet. Somebody was asking me the other day how you do one of those 2-sided ones, so I was starting to make a video on it, but I ain't got that done yet.
Yeah, well, my very first one I took off of Maker World, and it had a 2-sided on it. So once I figured out how that worked, then the one after that I made a 2-sided as well.
It's got 2-sided on there.
Yeah.
They've got. I was going to force it to do one.
Yeah, no, it's if you go well. I'm talking about somebody who already had one that made, is what I did the first time. And basically all you're doing is taking the front side and making it the back side too.
Yep.
So it you know, it's not that difficult to work on. But anyway, so I'll ask one more time here before we get off. If anybody's got any questions for Jack, I've got his information up here at the top. You know, Jack in the shop. He's got his website, his YouTube, and he's also got Etsy, and he's got several other things up there. But we thought we'd at least put these up there for you guys. And
look at any of my videos, you'll see a link to my Discord server if anybody's got any questions or suggestions or anything else.
So and he's real good about you know, helping somebody out, and I'll put my information up there for a minute as well, so that anybody, and like we said, if you feel so inclined, please like and subscribe to either his channel, my channel, both channels. We're both doing the same thing. We're both trying to share a little bit of our knowledge, whether it's good or bad. You know, I broke a bit, and I cut my my fiber laser or fiber line slam into after I run my Cat 5 cable out here. So, you know, I don't mind sharing when I mess up, because it'll help somebody else. But you know,
you need 2 copper wires. You ever do dowsing?
Yeah. So I've done that one time, and I don't know if I want to do that anymore or not. There's a lot going through there. So, but it's
it works.
Yeah. But you know, we're both trying to share with all you guys that are in chat, and if we can help you, we're more than welcome, or more than glad to help you. And you're more than welcome to send us either an email through one of our channels or something like that. If you've got a question, it might not be the answer you're looking for, and it might not be where you were headed with it, but we'll try to do our best. So
Chris said he learned a few things he didn't know. I don't know if he's talking about me or Mike did. I'm sorry, not Chris. But I don't know if he's talking about learn something about me or what.
Yeah, that was Mike.
Yeah.
FD 343. So, and then Chris has jumped in here, and we were talking about him a little bit a while ago about the fact that
been burning.
That's another one that's got a lot of good information that
yeah, he does.
I need to get with Chris, see if I can get him on one of these shows, because I think he'd be fun to talk to him from down under, but we'd have to find out a good time that neither one of us were up at the middle of the night. So.
I'm getting ready to say, he's probably just not getting out of bed and getting breakfast.
Yeah, right. That I think that would be a good one too. So Jack, did we just almost see the bottom of your shoes? Looks like you got flipped backwards, almost stepped out on you.
No, it won't go back out far, but
no. But well, Jack, let me ask you this: what do you think your next craft's going to be? Where do you see yourself going now? You've got CNCs, you got printers, you got plasma, you've got, and of course there's the UV printers coming out. You got the UV lasers out there.
I don't see myself going to the UV printers because I think that's something that you need to use consistently, and I'm not very consistent. I'd love to have a separate plasma cutter. I'd also like to have a UV laser. A few things I'd like to have, but
yeah. Well, and I think in the chat the other day, and we'll talk about it just for a minute too. Somebody had asked you about the gantry type metal cutter, and I talking about the what is it, GWIC, the new one.
That's a lot of money for a 400 watt laser.
It is a lot of money, but I do like the fact that you are able to cut metal, and I'm sure it's just like everything else. You'll see the expensive ones come out first, and then everybody else will develop one, and they'll come out later. But
I had actually thought about getting one of those 3-in-1 laser cleaners for $1,500. That's like 1,500, 2,000 watts, and tying that head to my long mill. Right.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure, and some of you guys watch. His name just slipped my mind. All right, I'll be back to that in just a minute. Let me hit this button over here again. Let me distract everybody for just a second. But Vintage Machinery, Kevin from Vintage Machinery, he just got one that was a 1,500 watts, I think. And the one thing that he does is he's got trains and all these different things he works on. And Jack's apparently froze up on us or something for a second, but he's been using that to clean a train that they're remodeling, putting stuff back in. So Chris says Jack's next project will be something simple like a home nuclear reactor. So I would tend to agree. We were talking earlier, Chris, the part you missed about the fact that he is a natural tinkerer and his natural ability to go back and forth. So let's remove him here and bring him back up over here.
Computer just went to sleep.
Yeah,
turn the timer off.
So yeah, you leaned forward like this, and then that was it, as far as you went. So we didn't know what was going on there. But I had just put this up. Chris said your next project was going to be something simple like a home nuclear reactor.
Something little, keep it small.
Well, there's another the Turning Merchants is talking about my mustache. It's a lot of work when you're a Santa. You have to keep groomed, and this takes time. Now, usually, what you'll probably see is after the season's over with, I'll let it kind of come down, because the one thing that you do realize is over time you have to let it grow out. And this, I'm putting product in it and all that, keep it up and that kind of thing. So I'm kind of bending it in that. So I'll end up cutting it a little bit and then let it come back out. So don't envy me too much. Let me see here just a minute. I'll go into I put up a photo yesterday, so give me just a minute. But like I said, so Jack, you were talking about, and I don't know that you ever totally give us an answer on what you would like to, what would be your next thing to start doing.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Maybe the UV laser, and maybe one of those 1,500 watt, 2,000 watt, 3-in-1 laser cleaners. I might try to see if I can get one of those.
So what, I mean, what are you trying? What do you think you want to accomplish with it? I guess is the better way to ask it. What do you
Figure that out when I get it.
Okay.
That's kind of the way I do. I mean, I don't have a project in mind per se. It's just more about the electronics and that side of thing.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, hold on here just one second. Everybody just hold on. Talking about my beard and all that kind of stuff.
Never even talked about all the guitars and fiddles and banjos and fitting in mandolins I have.
Well, that's funny you said that. I have in my living room right now, I have a banjo that I cannot play. I have never figured out. I've tried
you play anything else?
hammer. I've tried 2-finger. I've tried 3-finger. I just can't. I can't wrap myself around it for some reason, and so it's something that I need to jump back on. But have you been playing instruments long?
Since I was about 14, I guess.
That's right.
Playing guitar.
On your guitar, yeah. But I couldn't hit a D chord.
It was just like everything else. I got a wild hair one day, and I seen a fiddle on eBay. I just bought it, picked it up, and started playing it. I started playing in church. Everybody seemed to like it. I never gave it another thought. Just started playing it and following along. I was already playing the guitar, so
yeah. So this is what it takes for Santa to keep his hair. This is my corner of the sink.
Corner.
That's my corner. So, and you're not a true Santa, and I'm going to catch a lot of flack for this, but it's all right. You're not a true Santa until you tell your wife one day, honey, I've got to run by Sally's for a minute to pick up a so-and-so and such and such. If you don't know what Sally's is, it's a beauty place for them to pick up stuff that most ladies go to. So that's what it takes to get this mustache and all this other stuff. So
that's what Chris just said. I've been wanting to do one of those for decades, ever since I first seen one. You'd have to have the special kind of laser that had 2 lasers that shoot down and meet. Yeah. And they still are super expensive. But with the invent of the UV, they can do those subsurface crystal engraves. I would like to do some of those.
Yeah, I'm still, and I'm probably totally wrong on this. I would love to have a UV as well. I would love to try those internal engravings like that. But I can't get over the fact that I think it's kind of gimmicky, and that it's going to eventually pass through and people will have enough of it. And then you're going to have a UV printer that on the good side, you can still do glass with, which is, a great thing to have. Because I do a lot of glass. I love doing glass, and I do most of mine on my CO2 because I can run it quickly. But what I then do is I take take those little bit of shards that do pop up, and I'm usually able to get them out without it having any chip out. It just takes that little top piece off, and it still has a nice engrave. But
subsurface crystal engrave, they've been around for a long time, and they hadn't slowed down much.
Well, that's true, but I think
the fact that it just does glass in general and any other material pretty decently. I think it's sustainable.
Yeah. So, so Leonard wants to know what your beauty secret is. Well, what's your hair supply?
Essence me. Lord, let it turn gray. Just don't let it turn loose.
Yeah. Well, don't let me lean down, because that right there, they say that's intelligence showing, and that's what I keep telling everybody. So. But it's it's a lot of things. But that thing will keep UVs and work is weddings and trophies. And you're
Weddings,
probably right, Chris. You're probably exactly right. That's going to be its bread and butter as well. But if somebody sent me one tomorrow, I guess I'd be doing weddings and trophies and internal engravings and everything else like everybody else too. So because I would love to try one. I'd love to see how that works. But
I'd definitely like to have one, but I don't know if you can see that green box sitting in the background beside my U1.
yeah.
That's a resin printer. I've turned it on 3 or 4 times.
Yep. Yeah. So
It sits there.
So did you just not, did it not excite you as much, I guess?
No, I don't see as much benefit from that.
Right. Yeah. And I guess we all have our things that we will and won't do anyway. So, but well, we are coming up on about an hour now. And so we've had quite a bit of chat going on, and I didn't see any questions over as far as anything that
Other
Jack
beauty
wanted to-
secrets.
yeah, other than wanting to know about my beauty secrets. And so I may have to do a 6-part series on that or something.
Step 1.
Yeah, that's right. So, but I appreciate you coming on, Jack. Like I said, you've got a lot of information. Is there anything else that you'd like to tell everybody as far as, because I know you said when you were on IDC there were some things that you felt like that you could have told everybody and you didn't, and I don't want to leave you.
I really wish I had touched on safety a little bit more. I know I touched on the safety glasses, but I really wish I had talked about the fire extinguisher, because I know every time I say this, if you got a fire, you just need to grab whatever you got. And that is true. If you're in an emergency situation, do what it takes in that moment to put that emergency under control. But we're sitting here talking about being prepared.
Yeah.
If you want to be prepared, make sure you've got a couple of good CO2 fire extinguishers. They're not going to mess up your machine when you spray that into the machine. One of them dry chemicals extinguishers, they're going to dust up that machine. They're going to coat your lenses, all this other stuff. And if that's all you got, 100% use it. But if we're talking about being prepared and ready for those situations, so make sure you get a good CO2 fire extinguishers and get more than one, because if you got a CO2 fire extinguisher sitting right beside your machine and your machine catches on fire, you might not be able to get to it. Make sure you got one sitting a little bit further back as well.
And have a couple of these as well. This is the firefighter coming out of me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've got fire blankets and 20 years in the fire department. You learn a lot of things, but he's absolutely right. You get an ABC extinguisher and it's going to go everywhere. They used to have halon years ago, but that's expensive. So, get the best CO2 you can get. Because what it's doing is it's taking oxygen out of the air. So when it does that, that's how you put the fire out. And I hate to jump into a firefighter thing, but you've got basically 4 different things that you got for fire. You got heat, fuel, oxygen, and then you can sometimes have a chemical reaction. So basically all you're doing is you're taking one out so the fire goes out. So, just think about it a little bit about what you want to do with as far, and think about your escape route too. You guys see my door behind me, okay? So if I'm sitting here, my machines are over here on my left-hand side. So I can come out this right and go to the door. Always have a way out, because it's easy to get into a shop and put stuff everywhere. And we all do it. I've done it. If you saw the other day, I just took and revamped mine a little bit because I had wires running everywhere and all that kind of stuff. But the thing is you want to make sure that you can get out safely. I have unfortunately been in different situations where people were hoarders and stuff like that. Or we even had, talking about shops and things like that, we had one guy whose shop caught fire. He was doing some wood turning on a manual lathe. And what he did, he had a dull tool. And he shot just the tiniest little spark. But what do you have in the floor? You got all that sawdust, it's fine sawdust, and then you got all the chips on top of that. And when we got in there, he had wood stacked from one side, slammed to the other. And if you bumped it, you were gonna get caught in there. And so it just look around, make sure your shop's good, and just
keep your escape path clear.
Yep.
Keep your safety equipment in here.
Yeah. So Yeah, Leonard trauma kit there with you as well. So yeah, at least have it at a minimum have first aid because
My trauma kit.
there you go. That's the other thing too. So, but yeah, you've got to think about that safety factor as well. So, and but then there's Louisiana Hobby Guy. He said he's got a video that he broke down, the fire equipment and that kind of stuff. And so
That's good.
And then Ed said you'll install you a halon system. So yeah, he'll have him one of those hoods that goes over the top of the stoves and stuff like that. So
industrial.
Yeah. So yeah, and Mike, you should. You're a firefighter too, so you should be one that has both as well. So, but it's simple to get in there and do that and that kind of thing, but take a few minutes to think about it. Yep. Tourniquet if you use a saw, yes, and know how to use a tourniquet. It's not a very hard process. That's considered basic first aid.
I'm gonna tell you one thing right now. You never know what's going to happen. I'm gonna show this one more time. Not that one.
Mm-hmm.
That right there has been engraved with a thumb and a bandage because the head of this one got caught in my 6-inch jointer as I was running it across, and it kicked back and threw my thumb down into that jointer.
Ow. So
that is a fast way to lose weight, but I do not recommend it.
So yeah, well, and what's the they always say when you start woodworking, what's the one tool you got to have is a table saw. What's the most dangerous thing in the shop when you've got woodworking? The table saw.
Yep.
Because you've got kickback and all these other things that can go on. So
the thing I was looking into the other day too. I know everybody's looking at people with CNCs and saying you're not a true woodworker because you have a CNC. They said the same thing when the table saw came out. You're not a true woodworker because you're using a table saw.
Well, and I dealt with that a lot when I was in the woodworking club. You had, and I don't mean this derogatory by no means, because those older guys really knew what they were doing and they could use the hand tools and that kind of stuff. But at the same time, they never understood the advantage I had in the amount of time. I could take and do something in half the time and get further along in my project and still create a quality project.
But still have to know everything about the wood grain and all that stuff too.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, and I learned a lot of lessons from there. One of the very first lessons I learned from those guys was he came in with a bunch of straws just tied up together. And he said, does anybody know what I'm holding? I was like, no, you got a bunch of straws there. He said, I'm holding a piece of wood. I was like, what are you talking about there? He said, well, think about it. He said, how does wood get water? It comes up through each one of those little straws.
Yep.
He said, so this is, and that was as basic as it got. And that was how he started, his thing. So everybody needs to understand, it's easy to get a piece of Baltic birch or something like that, stick it on the laser and cut it and have something that you can show. But the thing is why did it do that? Where was my power too high? Okay. If it was too high, what was causing it? Did I have it sitting all the way on the bed or did I have it elevated?
Why do I get different results when I go against the grain or with the grain?
With the grain.
Go against the grain.
Yeah. And that's, with bamboo. Is bamboo really a wood?
No, it's not. No. It's a grass. What is it?
It's a grass. There you go. So that's something else. There's a lot to learn, and we all had that stuff. Ed's had a defibrillator installed in my. Yeah, okay. Well, I hope it doesn't have to activate it all. So Chuck's finally here. So
hey, Chuck.
So, but I think sometimes you were talking about X tool, and I have one sitting right behind me there. You can see it. I like the X tool. I like the software as far as the way it's set up with the ease of use. I like the diode that's in it, and you're exactly right, Jack. That piece of diode equipment that's there, is in an iode over, at what other so and so company or at another company. So because there's only so many that produce these things.
Mm-hmm.
That's the other thing that you have to kind of understand when you start going through these as well is, okay, where is my level of confidence or capability in working with these machines? And I think these people that do the advertising, they make it look like everybody can do it instantly the minute they get it. But
Mm-hmm.
how many of us in the chat, Jack, yourself too, how many of you have seen, I just bought a so-and-so and I can't get it to do anything, especially, and I see it more in 3D printers.
So many times, but I'm all over the place too. I'm a moderator on Laser Engraving Community, which is a Facebook group owned by the Clack Shack. I'm a moderator at Laser Everything, the Discord group. I'm in all these live streams, and I'm in all these different groups, and I'm hearing all these things on Facebook Marketplace. I see these brand new machines for sale because they couldn't figure it out, or it wasn't sustainable for them, or for whatever reasons. Yeah, they make it look so easy, and they don't want to put no effort into learning it. They think it's supposed to have been easy, and something's wrong with their machine though, because it didn't work the way they wanted it to work. Not necessarily.
Well, it's and I said this before. I'll say it again, based off what you just said. Being Santa, this past Christmas, I don't know how many times a kid 7, 8 years old would ask for a 3D printer, and you could see in the parents' face most of the time, because you have to take in the whole family, and you could see like, we're going to get him one, but I don't have a clue how it works. And so I just knew that in a couple of weeks I was going to see, we got little Jimmy over here. We got him a 3D printer, but it doesn't work. Well, no, it works. You just got to figure out what's going on when you start with it. So, but it's
There's Jeremy.
Yeah, Jeremy just popped in there a minute ago. So, but yeah, and I think I cut you off. We were talking a little bit about the safety. Was there anything else that you'd like to let everybody know
That
as
was the
far
primary
as
thing I wanted to touch on, and I just didn't even mention it on IDC.
yeah,
It was in my
yeah.
PowerPoint and everything.
So,
But
well, it like and it was a good point to bring up because, like I said, like I said, I got fire blankets up here and that kind of stuff. So it's something
and that is an important part, but I think I did touch on the most important. I think the most important part is the proper safety glasses with using this different styles of lasers.
Yeah. Well, and doing some woodworking and some things like that. Because walnut, I cannot work a walnut without having a mask on. For whatever reason,
you have an allergy.
It's not a diagnosed allergy. Okay, I have the not Afrin, but something along those lines that I can take that's prescription brand. But when I do walnut, it gives me such a headache that it's a migraine for like 2 or 3 days. And I turned the very first piece of walnut that I found out that I had this issue. I turned a bowl that's a nut bowl, and it's got the little center column that you can put the picks in and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's probably 6 inches, 8 inches tall. So it was pretty deep going down in there to get all that out from the inside. And when I finished with it, I spent 2 days with a massive headache, and I couldn't figure out why. So it was probably 2 months later, I decided to, because I had another piece of it, and I decided to turn something else with it. And all of a sudden it dawned on me. I said, it might be an issue. So anytime I do walnut now, I have to do that. And that's, like I said, that's just something that you have to learn as you go along. But yeah, dust mask, any kind of eye protection, and just understand what safety equipment you need for each one. But like I said, with the lasers, because even to my left over here, you can't see it because it's over here in the corner, but my fiber is over here. Even though I'm looking directly at the screen right now, if that thing was running, I can still see it out of the corner of my eye.
You don't have to see it. That light fills the entire room. It bounces everywhere.
Yeah. And so, that's something that you need to be calm.
Somebody else had that thought too. Well, I wasn't looking directly at it. Is that how light works?
Yeah. So
even if you don't get a direct reflection, you're still causing micro pinholes in your retinas, and you're not going to notice it until it's too late.
Yeah. Yeah, Chuck said you did a great job in IDC, and I agree. You did a great job. You might not have hit everything, but I think you did what they asked you to do as far as explaining the lasers, telling them the different types, what they could potentially do with it, and so you did a fine job with that.
And that is what they wanted me to do, the basic intro, and I almost felt like it was a little bit repetitive because I mean that is my third time on there, and that's what I talked about the last 2 times. But I mean, like it's been a year, so there are more people in there. So
yeah. So Chris says walnut has natural poisons, don't like humans. Unfortunately, they're very, very low levels. Well,
another thing I was going to talk about too.
Yeah.
Especially when you're talking about a nut bowl or anything dealing with food.
Yeah.
You need to be very careful with the exotic woods that you choose.
Yeah, and make sure that you put whatever you put on top of it is food safe on top of that. So,
because although you might not be allergic, somebody else might pick up at like different. Most of the exotic woods are a little bit toxic. You don't need to be eating off of it.
Yep. So, but well, Jack, this has been a lot of fun. I appreciate you coming on here, and I appreciate everybody that showed up on the chat this evening. We've had quite a few tonight, and so if you would, I'll say it one final time: either like and subscribe either to Jack, me, or both. Hit that like button, because as everybody knows now, YouTube's a lot of that algorithm is a little more difficult, and we'd like to at least try to keep doing this as much as we can. I'll keep doing it anyway because I enjoy talking to everybody. But like I said, Jack, appreciate you coming on, and
I do appreciate the invite.
Just keep doing what you're doing, because like I said, you're one of the ones that a lot of people go to. You were talking a little while ago about you got a text message from somebody. I know you get text, and a lot of people, Jim on here a while ago was talking about how you helped him with the 100-watt, and then even though I tease you, it was your U1 video and other things that you were doing that made me make the ultimate decision. So, you really have a lot of influence, even though you don't necessarily, your modesty is not allowing you to, I guess I could say. So, but but I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate everybody in the chat. And so we'll be back in 2 weeks, and I've got a new guest, and I'll go ahead and tell you, if Skylar will be our next guest. As far as I know right now, we're still good. So Skylar is, got a lot of interesting work that she does, and I'll have to say, she's more than just a laser engraver and that kind of thing. She is a bit of an artist as well. So just come and check it out and see what you think, and we'll talk with Skylar about how she got her journey, because she'll be the first lady that I've had on the show, and I look forward to that as well. So, but Jack, thank you for the time. I appreciate you coming on, and y'all have a wonderful evening.
Have a good one, everybody.